Yo, 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 what it do, what it don't, what it does. It's your boy, Street Coder Nate, and we back at it today. All right, so what are we back at it talking about today? I bet y'all thinking I'm finna pull up some code or something, but I'm not. Today, I wanna come very, very personal and talk to y'all about some real shit. Today, I wanna talk about imposter syndrome. Do you feel like an imposter in the work that you do on a daily? Now, what do I mean by that? Let me give you an example, and then you can kind of start getting your brain wrapped around what I mean by imposter syndrome. Okay. So I used to be in college, and in college, I was studying computer science, and I was getting good at it, but I wasn't good yet. Like in my first couple classes, I just wasn't good yet. I actually sucked a lot, and the thing is though, the kids in my class, like I went to University of Michigan, so I just went to school with a lot of smart ass people. And the kids in my class, I already knew how to program since like 13, 14 on some Bill Gates type shit, for real, for real. And so I'm in the intro class as a sophomore, and there are freshmen in this intro class. And the freshmen are just sitting in the back like answering the questions real fast and saying, everybody should know this, you know what I'm talking about? Like, who don't know this? Nigga, me, I don't know this. Like, I ain't never studied this shit before, you feel me? And so, like, but the whole time though, that gets to you as a person. It's like, dang, like, why do they already got this information and I don't? Then you start thinking about like how far behind you are. Like, damn, if I grew up with the privileges that they had, maybe, I would be able to answer these questions as well in this intro level course, but like, it just, those thoughts just kept coming in and coming in. I allowed them to sit there and actually grow to the point where in my second level course and my third level courses, I just didn't feel like I belonged there. Like, I was still learning, but these kids, I already knew the things that I was learning. Therefore, I was just like, am I at the level that I should be at? Like, is this career for me? I'm struggling so much. I'm failing these exams, yet these other kids are over here like killing it. Like, they're magnificent. And then I heard about all the computer scientists who were just so magnificent and could just like go stupid on a computer writing code. And I'm just like, I'm nowhere near that. Like, I'm more of a tap. You feel me? Like, that was me as a sophomore in college. And so I was just like, yo, I don't think this career for me. I don't really understand this stuff. And it's coming like real weird. I got to spend so much time studying this stuff and I still don't understand it. Like, y'all don't understand. Sometimes I used to spend like, I'm talking 20, 30, 40 hours a week studying for just one or two classes of computer science. Like, I would have two computer science classes and then like one easy class or two easy classes. I knock the easy class and the other easy class work out. I'm talking like on a Saturday or a Sunday. Like, that shit used to be easy. Computer science though, those next two classes, those was a full-time job that I kept failing at the first two classes. Even the third class about, that class I got a C in. I honestly should have got a D or an E. But what was that? Computational studies, or like, it was talking about logic and stuff when you finally get introduced to logic gates, discrete mathematics. We was talking about discrete mathematics. That shit was tough. But that made me question myself too. And so what imposter syndrome really is when you start questioning yourself on, do you belong in this career? Do you belong doing that work? And honestly, it's really, imposter syndrome in itself is really, I'm gonna go far and say stupid. Like, to allow imposter syndrome to set in is allowing stupidity to set in on yourself. What I mean by that, I'm just being real right now. You gotta realize that first, imposter syndrome came from the American school system. Like, the American school system is built for certain people. Like, it's built for certain people to prosper. What do I mean by that? They have the history lessons. They have the math lessons and the examples in math. They have the science and the science lessons and the examples in science that connect to a certain culture of people in the United States, at least. You feel me? And this has been the same way of learning since inception, since school inception in the United States. So therefore, like a certain group can prosper and go very far. And some other groups that understand this system, how the system is working, can also prosper and go far. But then there are a bunch of people who are marginalized within this system, but they still try to, maneuver through the system. And as they're trying to maneuver through the system, they have hardships that other, cultures and people who aren't them have. And so they start to question themselves and they start to compare themselves to other people. Like, why does he already know this word and know how to conjugate these verbs like this? And why don't I? Like, where's the discrepancy at? And so imposter syndrome honestly sets in very, very, very early on, like, kids. And if you don't catch this, those kids are going to feel like they're imposters to learning. They're going to feel like they're imposters to learning anything in regards to school. And when you have that imposter syndrome set in and it's running full effect, it's like a virus, low key. But when it's in and it's running full effect, you don't want to do nothing. Like, if I had imposter syndrome on coding, I wasn't finna code. I can't code that. Like, I'm not good at coding. This other person is going to code that for me. And that's how a lot of students are in school, for real, for real. So what I'm getting at is imposter syndrome comes from you not knowing, right? It comes from you not knowing, but then you also compare yourself to people who do know. So what I tell my students is, y'all gonna get imposter syndrome learning this coding stuff. Y'all gonna be like, there's so much information here. There's like not enough time in my life for me to study this. I don't think this is for me. That's totally fine. But honestly, if those are the two reasons, low-key, the third reason, some people say math involved. There's not that much math involved. You know how to do add, multiply, subtract, division, you know computer science. Like, you know the math for computer science, honestly. That's all you really need to know. And so, for real, like, most people got all the knowledge they need right now to start learning computer science, but they don't feel as though they are the engineer mind. They don't feel like they had the correct background, college, university, boot camps, one-on-one tutoring. They just don't feel like they have the right structure. When I tell them all the time, you can go to YouTube, you can go to Udemy, you can go to all these different places online and learn. And that's what I did at first. And I learned Python that way through Code Academy. I was still in the university. I had learned C++ my first semester, or intro to C++ my first semester. And then that winter break, I said, you know what? I want to learn Python. So I went to Code Academy and started learning Python. Learned it over winter break, but I felt like an imposter. I said, that wasn't Python. That was just too easy for me to know Python. I don't think I know Python. Like, this is imposter syndrome. When you start feeling opposite of what you actually are, for real, like you feel like an imposter. And so I'm like, I felt like an imposter learning Python. So what I did was take the Python course at Michigan. First A I ever got in a class. And then it made me realize that learning this information online was the same as learning it in class. And so I kind of like went on and continued learning a bunch of stuff outside of class and just became magnificent with like computer science. And that took my imposter syndrome away. Once I realized like, oh, I can learn this stuff on my own outside of class and just be dope as hell inside of class. Like, I would learn so much outside of class and then just come back to class and people be like, bro, how do you know this stuff? Like, what yada yada? Like, I went from the imposter to the guru. The point of this is, you're not going to know when you first start off. You're not going to know. You're not supposed to know. This is all new information. So stop thinking this is going to come easy, because it ain't. Nothing in this world comes easy. Every single time you have to learn something, you need to sit your ass down and study. You need to discipline yourself to write things out and build that practice. It's literally like a workout. If you go work out every single day, your muscles get stronger. If you work out your mind every single day, your mind gets stronger. You can start thinking in ways that most people cannot think, because they're not doing these mind workouts. You see, you got 7 facilities in your mind, and you can work them out by, using them, by exercising them. When you exercising your biceps, you're using them and they grow. Exercise your imagination, your creativity, all of those facilities in your head and in your mind, and you'll see that you become a magnificent person. And honestly, when you start doing that, imposter syndrome won't even be able to set in, because you'll realize that what you're doing is working out your mind. Like, you don't go to the gym and lift up a 50 pound like dumbbell and you ain't been to the gym in a while. Like, you'll probably go lift up the 25s. Or if you shape like me, you probably go lift up the 25s to get your arms back in shape and get it back into the motion. But you don't feel like an imposter when you're lifting those 25s. You're just like, okay, I'm getting myself back in shape. I'm lifting 25s. I'm taking on the work that I can handle right now. That's what learning is about, taking on the work that you can handle right now. Because once you master that work that you can handle right now it's time for them 30s. Then it's time for them 35s. Once you master intro, then it's time for discrete math. Then it's time for data structures and algorithms. Then it's time for web development. Then it's time for all these other type of developments. But you got to be patient with yourself when you're learning this computer science stuff. Do not rush yourself and say, okay, I can get me 6-figure job. If I know this, I need to hurry up and rush. No, because then you're going to end up with like a lot of these individuals from universities who just rush through the information and then really integrate it in their head. So be patient. Be patient. You have nothing but time in this world. Like, time is a made up thing that is going to exist until the world blows. You have nothing but time. Take your fucking time and learn this information. Don't compare yourself to me. Don't compare yourself to nobody else. Compare yourself to how you was yesterday. Am I smarter than I was yesterday in terms of this stuff? Do I understand something new about this stuff that I'm learning right now that I didn't understand yesterday? This is the proper growth. You should only be comparing yourself to how you was yesterday, never to anybody else. You your own person. You got your own world. Theory of relativity says we see this bitch differently. So why are you trying to compare yourself to somebody that sees something different than you do? It don't make sense. So keep grinding, keep growing. Take that imposter syndrome and throw it out the window. The way you throw it out the window, you exercise your brain. You tell yourself that you are capable of this. You don't take on more than you can't. And you don't compare yourself to nobody but yourself that you were yesterday and the self that you want to get to tomorrow. Thank y'all for tapping in with Street Coders. This was a dope one. I'm going to have more like this for real, because I feel like these type of conversations need to be had. So we're going to be coding and we're going to be motivating. I'm going to see y'all then. Deuces.